All right, what's going on, guys? It's Swift here, with Cake again for I think this is our third episode, of the podcast, and we have some pretty interesting things to talk about today. So, did you want to say hi, Cake?
Hello, everyone.
All right. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about, um, is Beyblade East, quite honestly, and my experience there. Now, unfortunately, Cake wasn't able to make it to that event. We're hoping for next year.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
real shame. I would love to come.
Yeah, so next year, we'll definitely be a little more prepared, and I know he was very busy that week helping his brother move and stuff, but yeah, it was a really cool event. I wasn't able to make it to the Friday tournament, which was HMS and Burst Classic. So really, I don't feel like I missed out on much since I don't play either of those currently. But I was able to do every other tournament, and it was great. So I ended up doing really poorly, actually. So McFaboy 10 or Alex, he was staying. We were splitting a hotel, and we were like talking about like what our plans were for limited the night before, and then the next day we got completely crushed. It was actually kind of a shame. That day was kind of tragic for me because we played Metal Fight Limited and um, Metal Fight 4D, and those are my two favorite formats. And then I found out at the very end of the tournament, I got ninth place twice, so it was one spot away from making the top eight and moving to the finals, which that's kind of a Swiss thing. Which it was also, by the way, my first time ever playing Swiss, which was cool. It did move faster. We could have four stadiums running, yada yada yada. But one thing I didn't like about Swiss is I wasn't able to play against a lot of the players that I wanted to, like Geetster, TSO, Yami. Um, so yeah, it was kind of weird. Serena got to play against literally everybody, so that was good for her. Speaking of Serena, she ended up getting fourth place actually in the Metal Fight Limited. I don't know if you saw that, Cake.
I did. I was impressed and happy for
Yeah, so like I was all down, like I was like I'm crushed, and then Serena's like I'm in the finals, and and then she got fourth, and she played Meow, who came out of retirement, for fourth place, but
Yeah,
Meow,
that was something else I was excited about.
yeah, he's super good at with attack, and I think this him making his debut again has proved that he is very good with attack. He was using Gravity H145 rubber flat, and that thing was putting in work. It was, I mean, it helps that he's very good, but that combo was just pretty versatile. It was able to deal with a lot of things, um, which was really cool. And now, shout out to Fried Pasta. He ended up winning. I think he went undefeated in all of Metal Fight Limited. So shout out Fried Pasta. He's a really good player, and yeah. So then, 40 was the same. I believe that Red Ninja, also a very good player, won that tournament. He's not new to Metal Fight, but I think he started in Burst. I am not completely sure. But it was also his birthday that weekend. So happy birthday to him. And then TSO got second. So yeah, that was really fun. A lot of the Maryland crew don't like Diablo. What are your thoughts on that, Cake?
I think Diablo is well, and if you've seen me talking on the WBO Discord, my personal thoughts on Diablo are that it's more or less fine. The only setup that I've really had trouble with, or not even trouble with, but am worried about, is with BD-145 because Diablo's already so heavy. But then you add BD-145, and then you just amplify all of the things that it does even more.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of also steps on the toes of Basalt doing its thing because Basalt's role was also being a very heavy combo, does slightly more stamina-ish things, but um, I think that Diablo itself doesn't really need anything more than a minor restriction at absolute worst. Uh,
Yeah, I was like maybe just stopping the use of it with BD 145, right?
yeah,
Because like I know a lot of people didn't like Diablo, um, but I was able to talk to TSO after the event. We just kind of hung out at Nightwing's loft for a while after everybody left, and she was wanting me to try her format of 4D, her version, and I basically explained to her, was like, look, when we were coming up with 4D or making the ban list, we weren't looking to make another limited format. We were kind of looking for the good old days of Beyblade before Synchroms came out, quite honestly. Um, which is why we want Flash in there, because I was actually talking to Dan from the WBO yesterday, and he was talking about how the meta was actually pretty garbage, because you had all these defense wheels like Death, Duo, all these super good wheels being released in 40, making it kind of toxic. But then Flash came out, and it was just game changing. It was so good. Did I don't know. I feel like Flash just brings so much excitement. And I just had to explain to TSO that it's not necessarily that I wouldn't play hers, but that wasn't our goal to make another limited. Because if I wanted to play a diverse format, I'd play limited.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely convinced that the Maryland version of 4D would even accomplish that better. Um, uh, yeah, sorry guys, but I wasn't terribly thrilled with the winning combos lists coming out of that.
You mean Stock Gravity Perseus? What?
Yeah, like yeah, and you and I have talked about this before, but I feel like those test events didn't quite test the format to the extent that I was hoping, or maybe some other of us outside of the Maryland community were hoping to see.
Yeah,
Uh,
I wanted to see some El Drago Guardian action, because part of their ban list, if you guys didn't know, is for whatever reason they want to bring RDF back in, which is already no people don't want to play standard because of RDF. So
yeah,
I don't know why you'd want to bring RDF um into 4D because it will just make it a super terrible format. Like I don't know, bringing RDF in, I just think is kind of a miss, and I don't think it should happen.
yeah. I just am a big part of why I think that Diablo and Flash are very important pieces of 4D is that they're very interesting attack types. Because, you know, again, Diablo is notorious for being this anti attack monster, and then Flash is notorious for having its great combination of high attack, low recoil, good stamina.
Yeah.
Uh, and then both also have upper, and as we've been increasingly learning, Diablo reaches pretty low too.
Yeah.
And those are the things that make them more interesting attack wheels. Versus if you take those guys out of the equation, you're left with a lot more like Very Aries does have dual spin, but other than that, it's like imagine you just took a cookie cutter into a piece of metal and just boom. It just has smash, and the same is
Yeah.
mostly true for Blitz. Um, and this makes them a lot less interesting to build combos around or to try and defend against, or you know anything else. Versus
Yeah,
Flash,
exactly.
do interesting things that you really have to think about how you're going to deal with it. Because if you're not careful, they will overpower you through one of their many, many methods of doing it.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. Um but yeah, so that was basically 4D. I'm happy that she stopped trying to convince me, because she realized we were just trying to play two different games. But the next day, so actually that night, TSO was gracious enough to let us borrow the Shin TA for Alex and I to practice in for standard, because we weren't able to practice at all for limited, because I drove there and didn't bring any of my stadiums, because we were going to be there for 8 days. And then Alex obviously flew in, so he didn't bring a stadium. So we practiced some standard in the Shin TA, and had a good time. Um, so then in standard, I kind of had a little bit of a crushing defeat, because I went undefeated. I made it to the finals. I was 5-0, number one in my group or whatever it was, and I get into the finals and I'm feeling confident. I go up against Yami, which is ranked like number 6 on metal fight, and I beat him 5-2. I was also very upset because it was the one match my phone decided to run out of storage on. So no,
Oh,
so I didn't get
no
any
footage.
footage, and then my phone was in front of Nightwing's camera, so I didn't get any footage from him either. So that kind of stunk. But yeah, I was able to beat him 5-2, which I was pretty happy about. And then, oh, shoot, who was the other person? I can't remember who I played in semifinals, but either way, I ended up playing Red Ninja for first place. And this is where, when I say crushing defeat, this is what I mean. So I sold him an RDF before the tournament. Uh, I was beating him 4-2. I made a specialized combo, which was my normal Garago E230 metal ball.
Uh-huh.
I actually replaced the metal ball with a W2D. And my thoughts on that, I had never tested it, but he was using Wivang Dragoon, and Wivang Dragoon can generally outspin E230 metal ball.
Uh-huh.
So my thoughts were, it can outspin Wivang Dragoon, and it can outspin his Genbul combo. I tested it, so it could outspin Wivang Dragoon and outspin Genbul. What I didn't account for, it's not able to outspin the mirror match, but with it on Metal Ball. So Metal Ball just does better in the mirror match because I was able to beat his Genbul with it, and I think I was able to beat his Dragoon, but I couldn't beat his E230 combo. So I was up 4-2. I was thinking in my head, I am about to just win. So I pull my E2. He chooses Wivang Dragoon. I pull my E230 combo out, and he, no joke, KOs me 3 times in a row to
Wow.
win. So I was up 4-2, and he ended up beating me 5-4. So shout out to Red Ninja. I took second place. It was my first second place, I believe, in a ranked tournament. But yeah, it was. I'm happy that at least it was Red Ninja. Like, I like that guy, and he did really good. You can see the footage on my channel. But yeah, that it kind of stung a little bit, but I was still happy that I proved myself. And then the third tournament of the third tournament of the Beyblade East was 0G, which us in the Midwest, even Cake, we have hardly any knowledge on.
Yeah.
I went into a blind. I asked Shindog for like his combos, and he gave me like one combo that was a good sway attacker. I ended up not even using it because I was too scared. I had never used sway attack, didn't know how it worked. So I somehow managed to get third place. I didn't get to play Geetster, but I got to play Geetster's mom, and she beat me 5-4. I built a deck to counter her because I saw her destroying people with sway attack. But in her deck in the finals, she had a right spin sway and a left spin sway. So it was crazy. She was very good. And then so I ended up getting third. Fried Pasta got second, and then on the DL, which was Geetster's mom, got first. So that was really fun, and I really did have a good time playing 0G, like a lot more fun than I thought. So I'm hoping we can get that going in the Midwest sometime.
Yeah, I've only played 0G, like I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've played. But it's been fun every time. I've just never spent the time learning how any of the competitive works, which is also exciting because going into a meta where I have no idea what I'm doing, that's a new thing.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's cool about it is like as we talked about when you were over Saturday, was how it looks a lot more RNG on the outside just from a spectator's view, but when you actually play, there's actually a lot more strategy to it, and it's a lot less RNG than you might think, um, with the whole
Yeah,
sway and stuff.
the way I keep describing to it is that it's like upside down land where all the rules are totally different. Like I don't describe it as RNG or other nonsense. It's got its own logic. It's very different logic.
Yep, and it works, and it's fun. So yeah, that was Beyblade East. I ended up getting third place. So what they did was they ranked who did the best in all the metal fight tournaments, and who did the best in all the metal fight tournaments across like every day. And I ended up getting third place, Fried Pasta first place, and then Red Ninja second place. So Asians represent 2 out of 3. But yeah, that was really cool, and I was happy that I could show that the Midwest meant business. But
Yeah, nice.
yeah, so it was really fun. Hopefully you can come next year, and yeah. But one thing that I got to play in while I was there was the Shin TA Repro, and that is the next subject I want to talk to you about. Um, so if you guys don't know, WBO member and staff member Shindog has put a great deal of time and money into paying for reproducing a tornado attack stadium. He wanted a 1-to-1 ratio replica of the TA. And if you guys don't know what the TA is, a lot of players, even players who play MFB who played in Plastic Gen. So the TA is a Plastic Gen stadium, but a lot of those guys say that it is the best stadium hands down for all generations. So the main issue with the TA, besides it being rare and expensive, is that it is super brittle. And I mean, like, if you flick it, a hole's going in it. So what Shindog aimed to do with this stadium was to make it even more durable than a BB10. So it's super durable, but it is literally a 1-to-1 of the TA. Movements are the same, everything. And I think it's just fantastic. I was able to test it. I have a couple videos of me testing it. And sure, it's a bit different. The ridge is a little bit higher than the BB10. The walls are a little bit shorter. So upper attack is significantly better, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on it, Cake?
Yeah, I haven't had the luxury of playing in it yet. I'm very excited though. But from what I've seen of it, it seems to be like the best of all generations, like stadiums, because it has the gameplay is designed around the original Tornado Attack. Then it used the wall design from BB10 because Tornado Attack walls are notoriously fragile, as Swift said. Uh, and then it's got the durability of the new Burst stadiums over either of the previous generations were not that tough.
Yep.
So it seems like an amazing stadium and pretty much everyone I've heard from who's played in it has nothing but glowing reviews of it. So I'm thoroughly excited for it. I can't wait to play in it, and I really hope that it does get legalized as a official stadium for all generations. Really,
Yeah, and that's one of the things when I made like a minute long video and I tested burst, limited, 40, all of that stuff. Metal flat still works great in it. Unfortunately, circle flat doesn't have the greatest effects in it, but
my baby.
but to be fair, the burst stadium circle flat it works about the same as it does in the burst stadium, I'd say. Um, and I just wanted to mention this isn't 100% accurate, but the way I kind of explain the TA is that it has the dish of the BB10 where it has like basically the dish and then the secondary slope, but then it has a more similar ridge to the burst stadium, but then with the wall design of the BB10 again, so there's no shroud. So it's literally just an upgraded burst stadium. So like the OG, like literally plastic stadium. But yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about it either. It's fantastic, and yeah, it's great. And then so one thing that some of the players want is for it to be legalized. Now they like it's probably going to get legalized for plastics and HMS like 100%. But one thing that Dan was saying was depending on how the community responds to this, that kind of determines whether it becomes legal for um, MFB. So I've personally played in it quite a bit, and I think it should be legal because I think it would be cool, first of all, to really like MFB Limited and stand they're legacy formats. So unless you
Mhm.
discover a new combo or test different things, things don't really change. So playing in a whole new stadium and learning what works now and stuff is really fun to me because we're like something might not have worked in the BB10. It might work in the TA. And also upper attack will probably become a lot more prevalent because like so maybe lightning will be used more because the walls of the stadium are significantly shorter than the BB10. Like I'd say like 1/3 shorter. So they can fly over the wall really easily. Um so that's just a couple things that I was thinking of was just, upper attack. Sure the ridge is higher, but you can launch harder now too with your attack
Yeah,
combos.
and my opinion on stadiums is mostly just down to uh, how close is it to the original stadium for the format, and then also with an asterisk for Burst. I don't like how Burst has the shrouds with back walls and everything.
Oh,
I think
the
that
shrouds are.
the previous generation not just having open exits is a way better way to do things because you never get wall bounces and you don't have to worry about something blocking your launch.
Yeah.
So I think that with the TA reproduction being, pretty close to the BB10, and the Burst Stadium is already legal in MFB, and it's close to that too, but more like the BB10 than that.
Yeah,
I think that it
exactly.
only makes logical sense for it to be legal.
Yeah, and I have basically that exact same thought process. And then I feel like a lot of the people who aren't wanting it to be legalized, like, come on guys, we honestly we need to move on. Like, we don't want Metal Fight to die. So anything that can keep it going, I'm totally down for it. Even like mods,
Also,
like
there are worse stadiums that are already legal. Like
the
again, Burst
Hasbro.
Stadium is legal and Hasbro is legal,
If
and
Hasbro
like
and
Hasbro is
the
vile.
ridge
Like
on the Hasbro is like double the size of the TA one. So if and it has 4 pockets, so like it's literally significantly different, and it doesn't have that secondary or slope. I don't think so. It is
yeah,
significantly different than the BB10, where the TA is like super close. And the thing with the TA you mentioned is its durability, but one thing I want to talk about is its cost. So
yes,
um even right now, like if you look for a burst standard type stadium, what's the cheapest new one? Like 70 bucks, 80
yeah.
bucks,
Like if
something
you're
like
lucky,
that.
you can find like 60 if you're lucky. Like
If you're lucky, yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna look for a used one, which you're taking a gamble. Um, yada yada, and even then, they're still usually 40, 50 bucks used if you can find one. But the Shin TA is going to be selling for $40 US, so 40 US dollars. It's going to be that's not including shipping. So that is one of the tricky things. And Dan was telling me he's gonna talk maybe to a couple people to see if he can get some to like a US seller just to keep the shipping costs down for US players. But otherwise, in like active regions, kind of like the Midwest, we're doing a big group buy because I think Dan said it could be, since it's shipping from Canada. I
uh-huh.
forgot to mention that. Um, but for one stadium, I asked him earlier today how much it would cost, and it was like, I think he said $35 for one
Yeah,
stadium. So that instantly turns it into a $75 stadium, which, to be fair, not bad. Um,
yeah. It's still not that bad given the current state of things, but
yeah, but
definitely
like,
something in the bulk order.
exactly, do a bulk order. So like, get at least 2 or 3, or try to get your friends to get one as well, and then all ship them to one person and split the cost of shipping. But I'm going to have a link. There is a pre-order reserve list form that you can fill out. I will have it linked in the description below. Um, and yeah, hopefully, we can do a lot with this, because that would be really awesome. And Dan did mention, and this is, I want to make this very, very clear. This is not confirmed. This is just something that Dan had brought up, is if they can sell enough tornado attack stadiums, um, they might have the funding to do a BB10 repro. Now, again, I know that sounds very exciting because they can make a 1-to-1 BB10 repro, but I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. It was just something he had mentioned, which is pretty cool. All right. So I think that basically covers the TA. So those are basically what my experiences at East and the TA stadium. But the next thing I wanted to talk about was a little bit more testing that we did. So Cake ended up coming over Saturday. We enjoyed some crab rangoon pizza, but
Yeah,
and but one thing I this isn't from us testing on Saturday, but one thing I want to just add in really quick. So Abelia from the WBO told us to test Susanoo on a screw, and let me tell you, Cake and I have been testing this just solo by ourselves. it puts in work, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's surprisingly good.
Like very, very good. It makes me feel confident using Screw against Flame 230. Um, but yeah, so I made a video about that so you guys can see how effective it is because usually I'd use Uranus or Pisces, but I think I'm going to rock Susanoo from now on.
Yeah, I think this is definitely increasing my odds of using Screw at all. Like in
Because
the past,
he's
I
a
haven't used
Vulcan
it that
user.
much, but yeah,
Yeah, and you've plagued your brother to be a Vulcan user.
oh yeah, yeah. So now he's gonna switch back to Screw.
Did you see his message in the WBO Discord chat? He was asking if Susanoo worked on Vulcan as well.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, and I was just like, unfortunately, it doesn't. But
No, it doesn't reach.
yeah, so Screw, super super good. I've always thought it was like an S tier limited metal wheel, but yeah,
This is just S on top of the S.
exactly. So basically a couple of the things that Cake and I tested, we unfortunately didn't have time to get to Libra. Um but we did test Dark
Mm.
Knight on both Wyvang and Genbul. So we didn't test Killerkin again due to time. We got really hungry. But
Yeah, and we didn't test Garago,
yep.
so
Which thankfully Abelia from the WBO, she has done a lot of testing with Girago, and then Dan has a really great video up. WBO Dan is the channel name, where he tested Dark Knight Killerkin, which looks to be maybe the scariest one of them all.
yeah, I think it was kind of funny that we did Genbul and Withang because those were the big scary ones back when it got banned.
Right.
But I mean, as we'll see, I mean, we didn't have that much success with them. Like it was okay.
Yeah, it was fine. Like again, so we used Dark Knight. One of the scary things that people are scared of Dark Knight is that it can KO Flame 230 on the 90 height track. Um, sure, we can blame our launches, yada yada yada, and we did get a couple KOs, but consistently it couldn't KO at the 90 height. And I think it's just honestly 105 would be where it would be consistent. So kind of just
Yeah,
like then you're just back in the Bandit Pegasus or Bandit Wyving territory. Um, but yeah,
yeah. Though
otherwise,
I
go
think
ahead.
it's still more consistent than Bandit at that
It's
height.
it's a
But
little bit more consistent, but like enough to make it bannable. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, at least with what we tested, which was Wyvang and
our
Genbul.
our tests were not flattering for Dark Knight.
What was that?
Our tests were not flattering for Dark Knight. It
No,
was it was
they weren't even. Yeah, we didn't have crazy success. Like Genbul really was like terrible to be honest. like like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Genbul made me not want to ever touch a Genbul again, and it's my favorite standard. It's my favorite standard wheel. And then Wyvang, it still hit like Wyvang, but like I feel like it didn't impress me more than like Bandit Wyvang.
yeah, yeah. I definitely think that I realized after we were done testing that those combos definitely were tailored a lot more towards the meta, which is no longer the meta. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I'd agree with that. And then they didn't have the best time equalizing, which is probably why Killerkin is more scary because that is generally known to have pretty good balance on its own, and then also it's thick, so it's pretty good at equalizing.
yeah.
So those were. Did we test anything else? Oh, we tried to make Virgo good pre-hybrid.
Oh, yeah.
Not good. It's good, but we try to make it consistent on different heights. But at the end of the day, I think for destabilizing Flame 230, I think BD is just the best bet.
Yeah.
Um, and then did we test anything else? I'm trying to remember.
Um.
Oh, we put
What
my
else?
my Bandit Pegasus against your defense gauntlet, and it
Oh,
did
yeah.
not fare. It had some pretty interesting results against Bakushin. Um,
Yeah.
I can definitely see it being able to KO that thing pretty good, but for some reason, your Bakushin kept getting wall saves every single time.
Yeah. That was just pure luck.
Yeah, pure luck, but it was hitting it hard. And then Jade, I did in my own testing, I was using 100 on Jade just to avoid scraping. Cake ended up using 85, and Bandit Pegasus does not do good against 85 Jade. You probably need Pegasus on 85 to get under
Yeah.
it. But then the other one was Leon, and in that matchup, I want to say that the weight of Leon, specifically, and the aggro shape was just able to destroy Pegasus, just getting under
Yeah,
it.
Pegasus did not live that
No,
long.
no, Leon just kind of like it was super convincing that Leon just touched it and Pegasus just was dead. So
Yeah. It's
that
not like Jade Hood is an underside weak spot that you can get to. It's just Leon.
yeah, it's just Leon is super good. Like honestly, in my opinion, an S tier pre-hybrid wheel because like sure Virgo has some niche uses and is really cool and sought after, but Leon, come on, it's so good. So people need to
Yeah,
try
I'm so
pre-hybrid
happy.
Leon. You can get them for like $10 on Mercari US. So there's no excuses, no excuses.
Get them now before people realize they're
Yeah,
good.
get them now before they're before people realize they're good and they randomly shoot up to like whatever how like what happened to Virgo basically where you could get the whole set for like $18 and now they're like non-existent. But yeah. Okay guys. So we have a couple two exciting things. There's two new scenes in the Midwest. So lately there's just really the Indiana scene and then occasionally there was the Ohio scene, but then and then also the Wisconsin scene. But now in October we have two tournaments. We have one in Chicago, which is really cool because that is very close to both Cake and me.
Yep.
And they're basically burst players, which we'll get into a little later. Um, but yeah, so that is super cool. Super happy to see Chicago on the map again. It's a big city. It's right in the middle of like Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin. You know what I mean? It's literally, honestly,
Uh-huh.
like the most optimal spot. Um, but then I am hosting my first tournament in Michigan October 1st, and it will be Metal Fight Limited and Burst Standard. And Cake will be going. Hopefully, Try will be going. He had something. It's kind of unknown at the moment. But my buddy Nizuma Blader, he will be flying in from Georgia to attend these events. So very exciting for that. Very happy to see two new states stepping in and starting to host because you can never have too many states or hosts.
Yeah.
So excited for that. And now, drum roll please. Boom, 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 boom. One of the most exciting parts. Cake is now into Burst.
I bought a lot of verse. I like a lot of verse.
Yeah, so if you
It's
guys
scary.
remember the last podcast episode, I was asking Cake, what are your thoughts on it? He was like, I think it's pretty interesting. I had fun. I hate 3v3, but, it was okay. So he came over the other day, and instead of me giving him gas money, I gave him some parts and stuff, and then he paid for dinner, so I gave him more parts kind of thing. And then he messages me like a day later, and he's like, hey, I just bought a full set of Random Booster Volume 27, which, first of all, that is the best set you can buy for competitive. You have Extreme Dash, Guilty, Devil, Dynamite. You have a plus F gear.
Reminds me of buying into Random Booster Volume 7 in
Yeah,
Metal
and
Fight.
ironically, 27 and 7.
Yep.
They both have 7. Lucky number 7. So just huge competitive goal in that. Then he also got the Achilles set, the new um shoot. What's the name? Zest.
Zest. I keep wanting to say Zet Achilles, but that's not
Yeah, Zest Achilles. So he now has the best left spin stamina core, and it's kind of funny he didn't know how to work the tool to switch it. Uh,
it.
but he has that, and then he has Wind Kirbyus and Astral Hello Kitty. Of course, he had to get that. he said that was not necessary. I don't know if I want to spend the money on it, but then of course he bought it. He's a burst
Oh
player
yeah.
now. So is there
Look,
anything
I'm
else
a
that you
Hello
got?
Kitty player. Let's be
Yeah,
clear.
it's Hello Kitty. Come on, like it's swag, and it has Revolve Dash. Since Cake
Yep.
is such a huge classic fan. Um,
Yep. Yep.
but yeah, so Cake is now into Burst. He has a ton of stuff. I'm very excited to see him play and come up with combos because he's kind of known as like the combo maker in our scene. So it will be interesting to see what he does. Um, Obviously, I'm assuming you're not going to stray too far away from some sort of guilty combo on a rubber flat.
Yeah, the plan is to come up with some way to run triple attack all of the time. Uh,
Right, that's why they need to come out with an Iron Dash. Seriously, like why'd we get Sword Dash? Iron Dash would have been great.
yep.
Um, but yeah, what else did you end up getting? Oh, you got Prominence Valkyrie, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we also got a Prominence Valkyrie, and then and a High Extend Plus. So
Yep.
okay, High Extend
Yep.
Plus Dash.
I'm just going around picking up all the top tier stuff I can find.
Yeah, well, luckily the Random Booster Volume 27 is like one of your one-stop shops. So to any of you
Yep.
guys out there, you really just need that, honestly. Or two of those and you're literally set. But otherwise, yeah, Cake is into burst. I'm really excited. He's thinking about going to the Chicago event maybe.
Yeah, it's a possibility. So if any of y'all are listening, I might see you guys.
Yes, sir. And then I'd like Cake to go to the South Bend event. Because I can't make the Chicago event. But if he can't, he can't.
Well, maybe that's on the cards.
It's
We'll
only
see.
an hour away from you, so
Yep. Yeah.
and it's only a one event thing, so it's easy just to drive there and drive back, and it's
Yeah.
so. But yeah, so after buying some burst stuff, what are your initial thoughts now that you own your own stuff and you're not borrowing stuff?
Well, I haven't had enough time to play with any of it. I just got the majority of my stuff came in this afternoon, so I've just unboxed it. I haven't even put stickers on, not that I was going to anyways, but uh, uh,
Right.
so I haven't had a whole lot of time to experiment yet. But in general, a lot of the problems that I've had with Burst are at least lessened with DB. Just again, because there's so much more burst resistance, then that's less of a concern. And I feel like with the new discs and low mode and everything, a lot of my concern about earlier bursts being very rattly is at least minimized because the whole thing kind of fits together a little bit better. Um,
You're
and
forgetting one
then
major thing. They don't burst anymore.
yeah, yeah,
Or no, you said that. Sorry, I meant to
yeah.
say the part where. The part where.
Oh, yeah, the part where. Yeah, so I do have like a metal driver. I'm not going to use it. Actually, it's fitting. It's never metal. So I have no intention of using metal drivers because I don't want to deal with that kind of part wear. But yeah, less part wear is a huge plus for me because that was the biggest issue. Because again, I played Burst at the start, and if you don't know, Valkyries last like one tournament, like at most.
That
They both
reminds
don't
me
do
in
well.
the Beyblade East Discord when Yami was like, "I have what did he say? 30 V1s?"
Uh huh.
And then Spin Zero was like, "Why do you need that many?" And he was like, "What? You mean it's gonna last like 5 tournaments or something?"
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, "Yeah, Burst Classic. It's hit or miss, honestly. Like I think Burst Classic would be my favorite format, probably if it didn't have the part where just because it's the most like Metal Fight limited. But
Yeah, if there's no point where I'd love Burst Classic, I would have been playing it probably. But
yeah,
I get excited to even test if I know that I'm taking like uses off of my maybe double digits max
right.
uses of this
Yeah, it's
part.
just like why should you have to buy 5 testing ones and then have to buy 5 more just to use for tournaments? But
Versus still using and winning with this Lightning Eldrago I've been using for the last
exactly.
decade.
And a lot of people just say, just because of the design of MFB alone, it's going to be the longest lasting format. Um
Yeah.
but yeah, how do you like those extreme dashes that came with the Galaxy Pegasus and the random booster? To me, it feels the most MFB like.
Yeah. Like they feel very close to like MFB rubber.
See, they're a
Uh
tad harder. The
quick
purple ones are basically
Yeah.
MFB ones.
Yeah, the quick dash I have feels weird because it's like really tacky.
Oh wait, did you
Uh,
you got a quick dash?
I have quick dash, yeah.
Where'd you get it from?
I bought it single off of the Beyblade Premiere.
Okay, what color is it? I didn't see that, I guess.
It's the cyan, like light teal, and then dark blue rubber.
Oh, is it shoot, is it really it's so it feels good then?
Yeah, it's like really tacky, like
Okay.
very very grippy.
Okay. I maybe I'll have to pick. How much was that?
It was $20.
20 bucks for a
So
quick dash?
yeah.
Holy cow cake. Big spender.
maybe,
Sheesh. Okay, but I mean like Cake
maybe,
wanted a quick dash, so he's going to get a
maybe
quick
I'm
dash.
remembering it was 12 or something. But you guys can check the site.
Yeah, Beyblade Premiere is great. Beijing Bricks is also really good. You can use my code. The Beyblade Premiere has free shipping, which is always nice. Um,
Yeah,
Beijing Bricks has a lot more single parts. It's kind of weird because the parts that Beijing Bricks doesn't have singles of, Beyblade Premiere does, and the ones that Beyblade Premiere doesn't have, Beijing Bricks has. So it's just kind of like what the heck. But
yeah. I was able to get the random booster collection from Bays and Bricks. The rest of the stuff I ordered was from Beyblade Premiere. So shout
oh,
out to both of them.
I thought you got the random boosters collection on eBay.
It was from Bays and Bricks' eBay
Oh,
site. Yeah,
oh, okay. John Miller
yeah,
or
it was
Discount Toys USA.
Yep.
Okay, all right, that's kind of funny. Okay, sweet. So yeah, so Cake has been into Burst. Probably the next episode will be after the tournament, or so we
Yeah.
might have 2 or 3 tournaments after. By the next time we have a podcast, because if he goes to the South Bend one and the Chicago one, that's two, and then the Michigan one. Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be a rapid fire October.
Yeah, especially it's really cool because Cake was literally not planning to do any of the burst events. But then he kind of I don't know what struck, but he got into it. Um, I
The
guess it
pretty
was
recolors.
yeah the recolors, and I did also nag you like every single day for for like
You did.
for like a month. Like, dude, just get into burst. I'll give you a guilty blade. I'll give you an extreme dash. Just get into burst.
I just needed to make you desperate enough to give me a bunch of cheap stuff. That's all.
The thing is, I gave you an extreme dash, dude. But yeah, so huge fun to that. Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about? I'm trying to think. Um,
I
shoot.
think that's about it. I just need to get testing so I can actually have thoughts about Burst.
Oh, hey, that reminds me actually. Somebody commented on my YouTube channel saying, "Does Cake have a YouTube channel? And if he does, link me it."
Whoa.
So, hey man, who knows? Maybe you could start a whole you could start getting into the competitive spirit, you know.
Yep, and I have actually been talking with some other people about possible plans for that kind of thing happening.
Because that would be
I'm not making any
information.
promises, but it may happen.
It may happen. And then another thing, Cake finally took the organizer quiz.
Yes,
Did
yes.
you pass?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I knew
So
you
I
were
got
gonna
still
pass.
to do my interview, but I did
Do you know
pass
who's
with
doing that
flying.
interview?
I don't know yet.
I'm assuming it will be Shindog.
Yeah, I assume it's got to be Shindog, but
Yeah, or
uh,
Frost or something. But
yeah,
yeah, so Cake is finally going to be an organizer. That is super exciting. And then, oh, this is the last thing. So as you guys know, I do sell on Mercari, and I buy a lot of lots and stuff, and it kind of helps me stay with the hobby. Just being able to resell the stuff that I don't need and keeping the stuff that I do need. But there is one lot that I actually won. Um, and I showed Cake. I showed all the guys in the
this
Discord
is
because I won
huge.
it. But oh my gosh, I won a lot, and I'm not selling this stuff by the way. But I won a lot, and for $70, and it had a full Ultimate DX set in it. Had a Phantom Orion, a Death Quetzalcoatl, a couple zero G things, tons of launchers, tons of string launchers, um, some metal faces, just a whole bunch of random stuff. But oh, I'm so psyched for that to come in.
Yeah, this was easily like a $200+ lot, like 10 years ago. Like,
Like 10 years ago. Yeah, but
I,
as soon as I saw that duo and the El Drago Guardian and Wing, I was like, oh my gosh. I even my bid, I was gonna play the highest I was gonna pay was $100 since I didn't really need that stuff. But I got it for $68, $74 after all the fees and stuff. So I'm pretty content with that price.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think I sold somebody a duo for like $80, so that alone
Yeah.
is really good. But yeah, so I am very excited. You guys can expect a video of that. And yeah, if I do go, if Kate goes to the South Bend tournament, I will go to the South Bend tournament, and you can expect some tournament footage from that. And then expect some tournament footage from the October event. It's going to be a really good time. But otherwise, I think that's everything. And as Cake said, he doesn't have anything else to say. So thanks for hanging out again, Cake. And
Yeah.
hopefully you can get testing with Burst. And it's not that hard. Just whip out your phone and record a couple of the tests. But but yeah, so we will catch you guys later.